Good morning. Teresa, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You made a big announcement this week that you are expecting.
We are. We're going to have a little girl this October. We're very excited.
It's very exciting. And I've known your husband for a long time because, in full disclosure, he's a journalist for the Associated Press. You guys also live in my neighborhood. So I'm so happy for both of you.
Thank
I know
you.
you're going to be just tremendous parents. You're also believed to be, you're going to be the first pregnant Seattle City Councilwoman. Is that true?
Yeah, we think that I might be the first one to deliver while serving, and very excited to do so to show that we can govern and raise families. I won't be the first to do so. As you saw, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, we have sitting senators in Washington, D.C. right now who've delivered, and I have great role models here like Justin Farrell, who was a representative while serving and governing and having babies at the same time.
We can do our jobs
That's
and
correct.
also be pregnant. You had also shared publicly that you did have some challenges in getting to your pregnancy. Why was it important for you to share that publicly?
Well, I think a lot of families go through something similar. We did have ups and downs. We had a miscarriage last year, and like many families, you prepare mentally for it. When it happens, it's a lot more emotional preparation that you really needed to get through those tough times. Thanks to my family and my friends, we were able to talk about it, but I know there's a lot of families out there, a lot of expecting mothers, want to be mothers who've been trying for a very long time. It's not easy, and then, as we'll talk about, even when you get pregnant, the first thing people tell you is, oh my goodness, get on the wait list. Don't forget to sign up for childcare. So it is a little bit of a roller coaster, and at the same time, we're really excited to be here right now.
So let's discuss childcare. We had shared this story that we had this morning. This woman calls dozens of places, can't get her kids in, ends up finding them childcare centers, different parts of town. For you now, not only as somebody who is legislating, but also an expectant mother, how concerning is this?
Well, it's been concerning for a growing period of years. Actually, I've been working on childcare issues from my career at Children's Alliance. We knew then that childcare issues and access and affordability were a crisis. Here we are in a city that's seen rampant growth. We've had about a 20% increase in our population, and we haven't kept up with the need to create both housing and childcare. You see families like Kelly who are commuting to different places to drop off kiddos. I have friends who drive both to Shoreline and down to Burien who live in Seattle and cannot afford childcare in Seattle. And it's a crisis for our employers as well. I talked to small business owners across Seattle who've said if there's anything that you can do to help us create affordable childcare for our employees, then folks can actually stay at work and not be worried about their kiddo or have to commute 2 hours to get to their childcare before it closes. It's a real issue for both workers, for the economic stability of Seattle, and for employers.
So how do we fix this? You've floated an idea for City of Seattle employees. Obviously, that's just a small part of the population, but what are you thinking for them?
So we're really looking at all options. One of the things we did with the mandatory housing affordability up zones was we created an incentive for developers who are going to put new buildings in place. We want to create childcare in those new buildings. Just yesterday, we talked about the new library levy, and we want to talk about what it would look like in the future to create opportunities for our libraries to maybe be opportunities for childcare or before and after school programs. What we've seen is that many of our schools who used to offer childcare and before and after school programs are so crowded now, they've had to cut down on childcare and actually end some before and after school programs. And for many of our childcare providers who want to keep their childcare or open a childcare, the cost of rent is so prohibitive. So what we are trying to do in the City of Seattle is lead by example. We'd love to open a childcare facility in City Hall to show other employers, let's use underutilized space. Let's create opportunities for childcare, especially in our places of business. And let's actually increase the number of childcare around the city so that it's more affordable and accessible for all.
On the City of Seattle issue, you've already been criticized. Some people are saying that the taxpayers would then have to fund daycare for City of Seattle employees. I saw a blog post about that. Is that the case that now the taxpayers would, in that plan, be funding daycare for your baby girl?
Well, I think that argument is just an attempt to diminish both the policy and me who's working on it. Let's look at reality. There's 100 childcare facilities that the federal government operates. There's 11 childcare facilities that the federal government operates in the city of D.C. in federal buildings for those who work in our federal buildings. The city of D.C., their city council, is opening 3 childcare facilities in their city buildings. It is good for employers as well as employees to do this. And we're not talking about just creating this for just city employees. If you look at the example 2 blocks away from City Hall in King County's building, they have a childcare facility that is open both to the public and workers at King County. It is so important that we create opportunities, options for childcare across the city. And we didn't have anything in that space that we're talking about. This was totally underutilized, beautiful space with windows. If we can create an opportunity for infants and toddlers there, I think we can replicate it around the city.
Last question, because we're out of time here. You know, the number of providers has gone down since 2013 as the population is skyrocketing, the need is skyrocketing. Just quickly, what do you think it is that is resulting in fewer daycare providers being available?
Well, we have opened about 2,300 new childcare slots around Seattle, but the reality is for kiddos under the age of 4, there's about 3 times that many. There's about 7,200 kiddos who need childcare in our city. And part of the reason is rents are increasing, you see changes in the demographics of our city, and we haven't invested more into creating spaces. I mentioned many of our schools have had to close down childcare facilities or before and after school facilities. We need to be creative. Let's open up our public buildings where we know that there's an opportunity to access childcare, and many of our neighbors would love to drop their kids off and then go to work. And as employers, let's open up space in our buildings so that employees can come. It's good for the health of the employee and the babies when folks can come back and work, have a place to breastfeed, have a place to drop off their kiddo, and it's great for all parents, not just new moms, but also folks who've adopted. This allows for people to come back to the workplace, have stability, and be productive workers going forward.
All right, Theresa Mosqueda, we appreciate your time this morning. This is an issue that shouldn't be political, so hopefully everybody can get on board and say, you know, parents ought to have a place that's affordable to bring their kids, that's licensed. And finally, just again, congratulations
Thank
to
you so much.
That's
Appreciate
so
it.
exciting. Tell your husband I said that as well, and you guys will be great parents.
Thank you.
Pretty positive of it. So we'll have you back on as we kind of talk about more of these issues and how to address them.
Thank you for having Kids Week. Really excited to be here.